Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us once again today. We're going to be talking about the Kaibab National Forest. We've had Pete Gordon with Prescott National Forest in. We had Vic Morphin from the Coconino National Forest in. James Pettit is in studio today. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
He is the Fire Management Officer for the Williams Ranger District of the Kaibab National Forest. So we're going to get an update from you about how things are going on the Kaibab National Forest. As I was telling you before the show, you know, folks travel out in all these different forests to spend the weekends and stuff. So I'd like to get kind of an idea as to how things are going on all of them. I still need to get somebody from the Tonto to come in to give us an update. But let's start right at the beginning. I've asked everybody that's been here so far this year about this. Is the Kaibab National Forest in wildfire season?
Well, we like to look at it as, you know, if I don't have snow on the ground, I'm in some sort of a fire season. So, you know, the way our winter set up, you know, we were all kind of expecting, you know, a robust
the big one.
El Nino. Yes, exactly. And so, you know, the way we look at our precipitation averages, you know, we kind of start in that October portion and then look at the winter because that gives us our snowpack essentially, you know. And so, you know, October was a really great month, got a lot of precip. November was pretty good too. December was a little bit kind of a let off there a little bit, and then back into it in January. Had great snowpack, a lot of precip, you know, and then we hit February, March, and it kind of dried out.
Did it take all that snowpack away from the Kaibab?
You know,
in February.
February, March, it did. You know,
Yeah.
everything kind of warmed up quite a bit. Got a little breezy, you know, and that's really the big thing. It really starts drying that moisture out. You know, and in March we were looking at, wow, you know, if this keeps up, you know, we'll be in fire season in April, you know. And then April came, you know, and we kind of got a reprieve. We got some pretty good, you know, rainy storms there, you know, and you know, wet everything back down again, you know, and so, you know, with that, it, you know, moderated everything out. And so, you know, where we sit now, you know, the last couple of weekends we've had some pretty good storms, dropped over another couple of inches. And so actually, you know, where our energy release component indices are, you know, and that kind of helps us, you know, see where we're at as far as potential for large fire growth. And actually right now we're sitting at, you know, just above probably historic lows. And so, you know, we're sitting really good right now as we go into this May and June. But you know, if you look back through you know, historically May and June, you know, these are the months where you get a lot of wind, and so those energy release component indices, they rise really quick. You know, they can jump right back up if you don't continue to get precip to moderate things. And so, you know, I would expect we'll continue to get some breezy conditions as we always do, you know, in May. But we're thinking, you know, there's some probability that we'll still continue to get some intermittent storms. So, you know, as it sits right now, we really like where we're sitting right now, you know. But as I said before, wind is the big factor here. It can really change things overnight.
Is it worse than the sun, the wind?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
Absolutely. So, you know, I kind of like, you know, when I talk about, you know, the effect on wind, you know, and you know, people using a hair dryer, you know, people with, you know, not me, of course, but people
Yeah,
with
not you so much. Me either.
people with a lot of hair, you
Just
know,
run away.
they may take a shower in the morning, you know, and they can go all day and the underside of their hair is still a little bit wet. But you put a hair dryer on it and they can dry it out in a few minutes. Same thing with the wind, you know, and you know, if it sets up and we start getting really breezy conditions for the next you know, month or so, we'll be back into some pretty extreme conditions. So you know, I'm looking at it where you know, right now everything's greening up. We got all this moisture here lately, and everything's greening up. But this is real similar to, say, probably 2010. In those years, you know, everything was a little on the cooler side, intermittent storms. But those are the same years that we had, you know, the Eagle Rock fire on the Kaibab, and then the Schultz fire on the Coconino. You know, our fine dead fuels and our grassy fuels, those were all real green, but it's you get a start in a bad place with heavy fuel loading and steep slopes. You got the potential for a big fire. So,
well, I guess that is the key too. I mean, we hear about that every year too, where you guys come in and talk about, last year was a really wet year. I mean, we had rain all the way through June, and then monsoon hit, and no restrictions except on the Tonto National Forest last year. But then you get, it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. Last year we had a lot of rain, and we had grasses grow like crazy. I mean, I remember they were, up to my waist, and I'm 6'6". I mean, it was some deep grass, lots of flowers, and then that's got to go somewhere, so it packs down.
Yep.
And then we got new grass growing on top of that, so we've got a lot of fuel out there, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of the forests where you have a lot more grass component is essentially their carrier for fire. Say the Coronado, the Tonto, those folks. So they have real issues with that grass curing out, before the onset of the monsoons, For us, the majority of our carrier of fires are, your timber litter, so your needle cast, your forest floor needle cast type stuff. So it's always a concern, when you get really good grass growth and then it dries out, wind picks up, all that grass cures out, and then you've got some potential for some big fires. So we just got to keep monitoring that weather, see how the precip keeps moderating things, or that's our hope, and continue to try to build some resiliency in those forests, using prescribed fire or managed fire.
So I noticed this weekend we've got really nice sunny weather.
Yep.
And we got some windy conditions on Saturday, which makes me a little nervous because it is supposed to be windy on Saturday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, there's like a slight chance of showers. Is the cloud cover come in? When it's cloudy, that's obviously it's going to be better for the forest than when it's bright and sunny and windy.
Absolutely, that surface heating, is huge this time of year. That's really the biggest difference. You have dry days in the middle of winter, December, January, February, but it's that surface heating, the soil temperatures, that kind of stuff that really propagates some large fire growth. So luckily right now you have that green up that's going on, and generally where you get to open grassy meadows where it's really green, it slows that fire right now. So the fire spread. So
all right, we're still getting cool at night too, so that's a bonus as well. Now, are you guys right now, is the Kaibab National Forest low, medium, or high fire danger?
We're at moderate on
You're at moderate? Okay.
on the south zone, we call it. So Williams and Tusayan districts would be in the moderate range, and then on the north rim, it's sitting at low. So they've got, it's a little higher elevation, and they've gotten a little bit more moisture than we have on the south zone. So
that's pretty typical too, right?
Yeah, that's really typical. It kind of tends to come in a little later up there on the north rim. So,
okay, all right, so it's looking good. Now let me ask you this: wildfires this year. You guys have had some wildfires.
Yeah, we've had, I believe, since January 1st, we've had 8 for right around 10 acres. So we don't generally get a whole lot of fire in between January and now, But, all those have been man-made. And so we're still getting a few starts out there, those months of February, March where, the weather was nice. People were starting to recreate in the forest, and we still tend to get a few abandoned campfires, here and there, and so still something we got to keep our eye on and watch.
So how is patrolling? You mentioned prior to the show that the Kaibab National Forest is like one of the least visited forests in the state.
Least recreated.
Least recreated.
Yep.
Okay. Why?
I think it's just one of those the things. It's kind of the furthest forest in the region that's to the north and west. So it's just a distance away from all those populated areas. So we tend to get some of that bleed over from the Coconino when they get full, and and some of that from the Prescott a little bit. But for whatever reason, it's just kind of we're tucked away up here on the northwest side.
It's a secret up there, I think.
Yeah, it's the hidden gem. So.
Yeah. Kaibab National Forest Fire Management Officer James Pettit is in studio today. Phone number is 928-635-5600. This is Countywide. We'll take a quick 2-minute break and we'll be right back.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What A sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to GetSchooled.com.
Along Kaibab National Forest Fire Management Officer James Pettit in studio today. You might know Brianne Pettit is your wife.
Yep.
Brianne's been in here numerous times. She's with the 4-Fry Project, Coconino National Forest. She was their spokesperson for a long time, so now she's solely 4-Fry. But this is her hubby here. Okay, so we talked about conditions on the Kaibab National Forest. Low in one area and
Moderate.
Moderate in the other area, so we're doing pretty good there. We've got these nice little Band-Aid waves of moisture coming in. I'm kind of calling them Band-Aids because I feel like it's a Band-Aid. You know, I sit there on the weekend and it gets windy, or weekdays. It's been really nice during the weekdays, and the weekends have been kind of cold, like we got an inch of snow last weekend, 2 inches the weekend before that. We get these little Band-Aids that come through, and we got another Band-Aid look like coming through early next week as well. So.
Yeah, just moderators. Just keep us moderated.
You guys have got to be just loving.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We love those little pulses of moisture. Just kind of keep us, set up for windows of burning. That's what we kind of look at this time of year. You know, normally we'd be out of kind of burn season by mid-May. But as long as we keep getting these, we'll continue to look for windows to continue to do some prescribed burning.
How was your winter? I know you guys like to do the pile burns and burning during the winter.
Really good. We had, we've been doing a lot of mechanical treatments. So with that mechanical treatments, we build a lot of piles. And so I think we ended up burning close to 3,000 acres of piles this winter. And
nice.
So, that moisture that we got in the winter allows us to go out there and burn those piles, without having any threat of it, moving around on us. So, got a lot of work done, a lot of really good work done.
Has spring been successful for you guys too?
Yeah, absolutely. We've I believe we've done right around 1,500 acres here this spring. We're hoping to get another, whatever else we can. We'll continue to evaluate these windows all the way through summer. We'll maybe looking at trying to do some prescribed burning in August, early or late August and early September, something like that. Some of these windows you don't normally burn in, but with the precip, it kind of opens those up for you. And so those are the kind of things we look forward to, when you get these years where you get this sporadic
clean up that forest floor, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just trying to build resiliency into that ecosystem, and the more we can do, the better off that ecosystem is, and then the better, the more protection you can build for those fire adapted communities. So that's these years are awesome for us.
Now, you mentioned fire adapted communities, and we were talking with Heather Provencio, the forest supervisor, a few months back about the Bill Williams Mountain Project.
Absolutely.
Is that moving forward and going pretty good?
It is. It is. We're ecstatic about it. We've we've got a team assembled. It's called an implementation team. So, after we go through the NEPA process, or the project planning process, now we can go through a process of trying to look at tactically how do we carve up that mountain and put a plan in place to actually remove some wood, because we got to do that before we can actually think about trying to burn it.
Sure.
And so, how do we remove some wood off of there? It's it's a complex piece of ground. So
she said it was a challenging piece of ground because of the terrain that's in there.
The terrain and where it sits, it's the watershed for Williams, and so we've got to be extremely careful with it. And so everybody that's looked at that project, we all understand that, we have to remove some wood off of that, whether it's, the fuels on the ground or, some small diameter trees. We've got to remove some of that stuff before we can burn it. But it's, at some point it's got to be treated. And so we understand that, and we're trying to tackle it. And so we've got the team in place, and we're going to work on it this year. So
Now, is the Bill Williams Mountain Project part of Forefry?
No, it's actually
it's its own thing, isn't it?
It's its own thing. It's its
Okay.
own. It's under its own NEPA process. So
Okay.
that's the really neat thing that I'm excited about as a fire management officer is on the Williams and Tusayan districts, is everything in that ponderosa pine fuel type is under some sort of a planning process. So I can technically go out there and write a burn plan for any acreage out there, and so it's really nice and exciting, and we're really looking forward years to come on really getting some good treatment in and around those communities.
Well, you said you're from Williams. You're born and raised Williams, so
born and raised
it's
Williams.
important for you to be able to protect your community that you've been a part of all your life.
Absolutely. I have a ton of ownership in that, the forests around there, and so it's exciting for me.
Very awesome. Okay, very cool. Kaibab National Forest does something else that I've noticed over the years doing this, is that sometimes the Coconino National Forest will do it, and sometimes the Prescott does too. I guess all the forests probably do this every now and again, but Kaibab especially, I've noticed, monsoon season hits, we get those lightning strikes. You guys have got a real knack of letting those lightning strike fires kind of run their course as they would have many, many years ago when no one was around to stop them.
Yeah.
That's kind of your thing up there.
Yeah, absolutely. We probably don't get the fire suppression load that say the Coconino does. They get a lot more man-made starts, so you have to go out and suppress those. We get quite a few lightning fires, and so since 2003 we've been doing that on the Kaibab, and it's I think we've treated roughly 165,000 acres since 2003 with managed fire. And it's something that we're really in tune with. We evaluate every lightning start for a potential managed fire. Last year we did right around 21,000 acres on the 3 districts there. It's something we're really proud of. You get a lot of work done that way. Just the cost benefit of allowing Mother Nature to do its chores out there. We get so much bang for our buck doing it that way, and so it's a lot of fun as a fire manager to be able to do that. So
Great. Okay, we're going to take our second break already, okay?
Okay.
Kaibab National Forest Fire Management Officer James Pettit in studio today. I'm Paul David. This is Countywide, and we will be back in just a couple minutes.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left in the program, learning all there is to know about the Kaibab National Forest right now, and all the forests are in wildfire season right now, so we've got to put those campfires out. Now, I've started my stories on Fridays and Mondays, where tomorrow I'll announce that Prescott National Forest had an abandoned campfire they found last weekend. Coconino National Forest found 6 last weekend. Kaibab National Forest, how you guys doing with abandoned campfires?
You know, like I was talking about earlier, is we've had, you know, I think 8 so far this year.
So those fires you had are from abandoned campfires?
Yep, they were all abandoned campfires.
That crawled out of the ring?
Well, most of them. I think we had a couple that were, you know, undetermined, but suspecting that they were abandoned campfires. So, yeah, people camping, go about their day, hiking or whatever, come back and just didn't put their fire out for whatever reason, and it gets out of the fire ring, and then, you know, there we go.
Maybe it's the same as it is on the Coconino and the Prescott. I mean, you wake up in the morning, it's not very windy. You build your morning breakfast fire,
yep,
and then you head out on that hike or that walk at around, you know, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. You're gone till 1 or 2. Well, those winds get going pretty good. I swear you could set your watch at 11 o'clock. It's the winds pick up. Pretty similar on the Kaibab?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and the other thing that wind does is kind of blows off that top layer of ash, you know, and it exposes those hot coals, and the coals get blown out of that ring, and all it takes is to get into some of the, you know, little pile of needles somewhere, and then you know, then we got to call the Forest Service.
Next thing you know, James Pettit's on his way with a bucket of water.
Yep,
put that fire out. Another thing, so let's make sure those campfires are dead out. Don't turn your back on them. You can't just leave it there and expect it to stay in that ring. It's got to be out every time you're going to walk away from it, right? I mean, I can't go away for a couple hours and say I'm going to run down and get a bag of ice and come back. Got to put it out.
Yeah, absolutely. You got, you know, if you're going to go out, if you're going to go camping, you're going to build a campfire, you need to take a shovel with you. You need to take 5 gallons of water, and you pour the water in there, and you got to stir it up. Stir it in with dirt, mix it up until you can put your hand in there and touch it. And if it's cold enough for you to touch it, then it's probably okay to walk.
Somebody's got to be in that campsite to monitor that fire at all times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Trash in the forest. You guys, you probably don't have any trash problems in your forest, do you?
Unfortunately, we still do.
You do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a rough thing because, you know, it takes a lot of man hours and to go out there and collect all that trash. You know, we're still finding it everywhere, and you know, I think you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, if we pack it out into the woods, we need to be able to pack it, you know, back into town and put that in the garbage. So it's something that we've got to spend a lot of time in, when, you know, and it costs us hours where we could be out doing, you know, other things in the forest. So it's troublesome, and it's just something that we need to keep working on as far as education. You know, and some understanding that, hey, you know, we all own these forests, and, you know, to keep them looking good, you know, we need to pack our trash out.
There is no trash service on our national forest. James, thank you so much. Good job.
Thanks for having me.
That was James' first time on camera.
Absolutely.
Very good job. All right, Kaibab National Forest, Coconino National Forest, Prescott National Forest, all in wildfire season. That's today's Countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we will talk to you again next time.